Good morning, children. Today we will start part 2 of lesson The Sound of Music, the Shehnai of Bismillah Khan. Let us begin. Emperor Aurangzeb banned the playing of a musical instrument called pungi in a royal residence, for it had a shrill, unpleasant sound. So the writer is telling us that during the time of Aurangzeb, pungi, a small instrument which looked similar to Shehnai, it was not allowed to play the pungi in the royal residence, in the royal palace, because pungi had a very shrill, unpleasant sound. It had a harsh sound which did not feel pleasant to the ears. Pungi became a generic name for reeded noise makers. Now, see, children, many meanings are also given in our textbook. Let us see the meanings also side by side. Generic names, a name given to a class or group as a whole. Reeded. Reeded means wind instruments which have reeds like the flute, the clarinet, etc. So pungi became a generic name for reeded noise makers. All those instruments which had reeds. Which had reeds means there was a string and it was moved and the sound was created with it. That are called reeds. So all those instruments which had reeds, they came under a generic name pungi. Few had thought that it would one day be revived. Nobody had thought that pungi would become an advanced, pungi would be advanced one day, and it would also gain popularity in the form of Shehnai. A barber of a family of professional musicians who had access to the royal palace decided to improve the tonal quality of the pungi. See, children, pay attention. A barber of a family of professional musicians who had access to the royal palace decided to improve the tonal quality of pungi. So, who decided to improve the sound of pungi? A barber who used to visit the royal palace of Emperor Aurangzeb. He chose a pipe with a natural hollow stem that was longer and broader than the pungi, and made 7 holes on the body of the pipe. So this was a change made. A hollow stem was taken, a pipe was taken from a hollow stem of a plant, and it was longer and broader than the pungi, and 7 holes were made on the body of the pipe. When he played on it, closing and opening some of the holes, soft and melodious sounds were produced. He played the instrument before royalty. Who played? The barber. The barber made all these changes. He played the instrument before the royalty, means before Emperor Aurangzeb and his courtiers, and everyone was impressed. The instrument, so different from the pungi, had to be given a new name. Now this instrument was very different from pungi because it was longer and broader, it had a hollow stem, and it had 7 holes. Closing and opening the holes used to make melodious sound. So it had to be given a new name. As the story goes, since it was first played in the Shah's chamber, Shah means the emperor, emperor's chamber, and was played by a Nai. Nai is a barber. So the instrument was named as Shehnai. I think this is a new information for all of you children, how the name Shehnai was given to this instrument. It was played in the Shah's chamber for the first time by a Nai or a barber. That is why it was given this name Shehnai. The sound of the Shehnai began to be considered auspicious. Auspicious means holy, something good. You must have seen or heard that whenever marriages are held, in many marriage ceremonies, Shehnai is played. because Shehnai is considered to be a very holy instrument, pavitra, that is played in good occasions. The sound of the Shehnai began to be considered auspicious, and for this reason it is still played in temples and is an indispensable component of any North Indian wedding. So it is not only an important part of the Indian weddings, but it is also played in temples. In the past, the Shehnai was part of the Naubat or traditional ensemble of 9 instruments found at royal courts. In the past, the Shehnai was a part of the Naubat or traditional ensemble. See what is the meaning of ensemble? Things considered as a group. So, in the past time, there were 9 instruments which were played in the royal court, and Shehnai was a part of those 9 instruments. Till recently, it was used only in temples and weddings. The credit for bringing this instrument onto the classical stage goes to Ustad Bismillah Khan. Earlier, Shehnai was played in temples and in weddings, in marriages. But Ustad Bismillah Khan brought this instrument to the classical stage and gave a great uplift to this instrument. As a 5-year-old, Bismillah Khan played Gilli Danda near a pond in the ancient estate of Dumrao in Bihar. He would regularly go to the nearby Bihariji temple to sing the Bhojpuri Chaita, at the end of which he would earn a big laddu weighing 1.25 kg, a prize given by the local Maharaja. This happened 80 years ago, and the little boy, who is the little boy? Bismillah Khan. And the little boy has travelled far to earn the highest civilian award in India, the Bharat Ratna. So this boy, who used to go to the near Bihariji temple to play the Shehnai there, and as a reward he was given a big laddu. Later on, this boy became the greatest Shehnai player of India and was given the highest civilian award, the Bharat Ratna. Born on 21st March 1916, Bismillah belongs to a well-known family of musicians from Bihar. His grandfather, Rasool Baks Khan, was the Shehnai Nawaz of the Bhojpur king's court. His father, Paigambar Baks, and other paternal ancestors were also great Shehnai players. So, Shehnai was being played by his ancestors, by his father also, and by his grandfather also. The young boy took to music early in his life. That means he started learning music when he was a small boy. At the age of 3, when his mother took him to his maternal uncle's house in Banaras, now Varanasi, Bismillah was fascinated watching his uncles practice the Shehnai. Soon, Bismillah started accompanying his uncle Ali Baks to the Vishnu temple of Banaras, where Baks was employed to play the Shehnai. Ali Baks would play the Shehnai and Bismillah would sit captivated for hours on end. So he used to just admire listening to his uncle playing the Shehnai. Slowly, he started getting lessons in playing the instrument and would sit practicing throughout the day. So earlier he was just listening to his uncle, but later on he started learning Shehnai. For years to come, the temple of Balaji and Mangala Maiya and the banks of the Ganga became the young apprentice's favorite haunts, where he would practice in solitude. Young apprentice means young student. So the writer is writing that for many years the temple of Balaji, and the temple of Mangala Maiya, and the banks of river Ganga. These became favorite haunts, favorite places of this young learner, young student, to go and sit there and practice Shehnai continuously for hours in solitude. In solitude means akele mein. He used to sit there all alone and practice Shehnai every day. The flowing waters of the Ganga inspired him to improvise and invent ragas that were earlier considered to be beyond the range of the Shehnai. So, not only did he practice Shehnai, but when he saw the flowing waters of river Ganga, he made many improvements in his playing of Shehnai. He did many new changes. He brought about changes in the Shehnai, and he invented many ragas which he played on the Shehnai, which earlier it was not even imagined that somebody could play the ragas on the Shehnai. It was considered beyond imagination. At the age of 14, Bismillah accompanied his uncle to the Allahabad Music Conference. At the end of his recital, Ustad Fayyaz Khan patted the young boy's back and said, "Work hard and you shall make it." That means Ustad Fayyaz Khan was very impressed with the playing of Shehnai by Bismillah Khan, and he said that keep on working hard and you shall make it. You will be able to do excellent work in this field. With the opening of the All India Radio in Lucknow in 1938 came Bismillah's big break. How did he get his first break in his life? When All India Radio in Lucknow was opened in 1938. He soon became an often heard Shehnai player on radio. So now Bismillah Khan got an opportunity to play the Shehnai frequently on the All India Radio. When India gained independence on 15th August 1947, Bismillah Khan became the first Indian to greet the nation with his Shehnai. So you can imagine what a proud moment it would have been for Bismillah Khan and also for all Indians. When India got independence in 1947, Bismillah Khan became the first Indian to play the Shehnai for his nation. He poured his heart out into the Rag Kafi. Rag Kafi is one of the ragas which he played on that day. From the Red Fort to an audience which included Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, who later gave his famous Tryst with Destiny speech. So he did not play his Shehnai on 15th August 1947 in front of any ordinary people. He played in front of Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, the first Prime Minister of India. So what a great moment it would have been for Ustad Bismillah Khan. Bismillah Khan has given many memorable performances both in India and abroad. His first trip abroad was to Afghanistan, where King Zahir Shah was so taken in by the maestro that he gifted him priceless Persian carpets and other souvenirs. Souvenirs means other things which he kept as his memory, in his memory. So when he went to Afghanistan, King Zahir Shah was so impressed with the playing of Shehnai by Ustad Bismillah Khan that he gifted precious, very priceless, precious Persian carpets and also other things which he kept in his memory. The King of Afghanistan was not the only one to be fascinated with Bismillah's music. He was not the only one who was so greatly impressed by the music of Bismillah Khan. Film director Vijay Bhatt was so impressed after hearing Bismillah play at a festival that he named a film after the instrument called Goonj Uthi Shehnai. It was a very famous movie, Goonj Uthi Shehnai, On YouTube, children, if you get time, you can listen to the Shehnai played by Ustad Bismillah Khan in this Indian movie, Hindi movie, Goonj Uthi Shehnai. The film was a hit, and one of Bismillah Khan's composition, Dil Ka Khilona Hai Toot Gaya. This is a very famous Hindi song, children. You can listen to this song and listen to the Shehnai of Bismillah Khan. Turned out to be a nationwide chart buster. It was a very, very popular song of those days. Despite this huge success in the celluloid world, celluloid means old-fashioned way of referring to films. Celluloid world. Bismillah Khan's ventures in film music were limited to two: Vijay Bhatt's Goonj Uthi Shehnai and Vikram Srinivasa's Kannada's venture Sanadhi Apanna. I just can't come to terms with the artificiality and glamour of the film world, he says with emphasis. So, Bismillah Khan worked only in two films. Then he left the film industry because he said that I can't work in such a world which is filled with artificiality and glamour. I can't do work there. Awards and recognition came thick and fast. That means he won many awards. Bismillah Khan became the first Indian to be invited to perform at the prestigious Lincoln Center Hall in the United States of America. Not only in India, but he was invited all over the world to give his performances. He also took part in the World Exposition in Montreal, in the Cannes Art Festival, and in the Osaka Trade Fair. So well known did he become internationally that an auditorium in Tehran was named after him, Tahar Mosiki Ustad Bismillah Khan. So you can see how much respect was given to Ustad Bismillah Khan everywhere in the world. National awards like the Padma Shri, the Padma Bhushan, and the Padma Vibhushan were conferred on him. These are one of the highest awards given in India. All these were given to Ustad Bismillah Khan. In 2001, Ustad Bismillah Khan was awarded India's highest civilian award, the Bharat Ratna. With the coveted award resting on his chest and his eyes glinting with rare happiness, he said, "All I would like to say is, teach your children music. This is Hindustan's richest tradition. Even the West is now coming to learn our music." So this is the motivational line which he said to everybody in India, especially to the parents, that teach your children music. Even the Western countries are now coming, they are inspired by Indian music and they are coming forward to learn our music. In spite of having travelled all over the world, Khan Saab, as he is fondly called, is exceedingly fond of Banaras and Dumrao, and they remain for him the most wonderful towns of the world. Bismillah Khan has great love and affection towards two places in India, Banaras and Dumrao. A student of his once wanted him to head a Shehnai school in the USA, and the student promised to recreate the atmosphere of Banaras by replicating the temples there. So once what happened, a student said to him that he requested that he wants Ustad Bismillah Khan to open a Shehnai, to head a Shehnai school, become the head of a Shehnai school in the USA. And the student promised that he would construct the same type of temples as they were in Banaras to create the atmosphere of Banaras in USA. But Khan Sahab asked him if he would be able to transport river Ganga as well. So look how beautifully he refused to go to USA. He did not want to leave Banaras because he said that it's okay, you can construct temples there, fine, but can you take Ganga also from India to Banaras? If yes, then only he would go. And obviously, Ganga can't go to USA. Later, he is remembered to have said, "That is why, whenever I am in a foreign country, I keep yearning to see Hindustan." Whenever he is in a foreign country, he always wants to come back to Hindustan, he said. While in Mumbai, I think of only Banaras and the holy Ganga. And while in Banaras, I miss the unique matha of Dumrao. So, here we can again see how much he loved Banaras and Dumrao. He did not want to leave these two places. Ustad Bismillah Khan's life is a perfect example of rich and cultural heritage of India, one that effortlessly accepts that a devout Muslim like him can very naturally play the Shehnai every morning at a Kashi Vishwanath temple. So he was an example of Hindu Muslim unity also, you can say, and he was an example of the rich cultural heritage of India. Although he himself was a devout Muslim, but every day he used to play the Shehnai at the Kashi Vishwanath temple in Banaras. Ustad Bismillah Khan passed away on 21st August 2006 at the age of 90 after a prolonged illness. He was given a state funeral and the government of India declared one day of national mourning. Now let us read one more paragraph which is given as the first paragraph on page 25. This paragraph will tell us how much he wanted to live in India, especially Banaras and Dumrao. Shekhar Gupta, when partition happened, didn't you and your family think of moving to Pakistan? Once Shekhar Gupta, a person, asked Bismillah Khan that when India was partitioned, then why you and your family did not want to move to Pakistan? Bismillah Khan said, God forbid, he did not want to leave India. Me leave Banaras? Never. I went to Pakistan once. I crossed the border just to say I have been to Pakistan. I was there for about an hour. I said namaskar to the Pakistanis and salam alaikum to the Indians. I had a good laugh. So he says that if he will leave India, he can leave India only for a few minutes or for an hour, but then he will again come back to India. Such was his intense love for India, for Banaras, for Dumrao, and especially for Shehnai. Read the whole chapter, children, again and enjoy the important things given about Ustad Bismillah Khan. Thank you.